Every now and again, an opportunity comes along for the kind of adventure that both excites and terrifies you, and this is the story of one of those adventures. Okay, maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic, but in my defense, when I set out to tackle the 4x4 track that you're about to see, I had no idea what to expect. This story really begins back in 2020 when I took my almost stock standard Toyota Hilux out to a place called Kouga Wilderness. Kouga Wilderness is a very remote area of, wilderness in the Kouga Mountains of the Eastern Cape. Probably one of the most wild and rugged parts of South Africa. I'd headed out there to camp, but had decided one afternoon to tackle a short 3.8 kilometer 4x4 track called Sukkelpoort. The fact that sukkel is the Afrikaans word for struggle should have been a warning to me, but being stubborn and thinking that a stock standard Hilux could get through easy peasy, I attempted the drive, and after damaging the underside through lack of clearance and puncturing a tyre, I had to admit defeat and turn around. After quite a few substantial upgrades to the vehicle, it was time for attempt number 2, and this time I was determined to conquer. The drive to Kouga Wilderness is all part of the adventure. The gravel road that winds toward the mountains is one of very few roads that allow access to this vast area, so everything feels completely untouched. The further away from the road we moved, the worse the road became until it was almost undrivable in a low clearance car, and at the end of the road, the beautiful bush camp. Well, we finally arrived at the bush camp at Kouga Wilderness. It was, as you can tell by the tire tracks up here, it was a bit challenging to get to this parking spot, but we've chose a pretty cool campsite. I have my truck up there on a little flat spot, and we'll be able to open the awning and have the fridge right there, the kitchen unit on the side, and have my rooftop tent open up and have it pretty flat. You can see the rock structures there above us. It creates a nice little natural sheltered area where we, if the rain starts coming down, we've obviously got the awning and everything, but there's also a bit of a rock overhang here which creates almost like a cave, and if any wind comes through then we're also quite sheltered. So really awesome spot. We've got it all to ourselves. When you book the bush camp here, you get the bush camp completely to yourself, so you don't have anyone else invading your space. And tomorrow we're going to hit it early when Jean comes and hit some trails and hopefully get Sukkelpoort done and dusted after a really challenging outing last time. But really looking forward to it. It's starting to get dark, so let's get the fire going, let's start unpacking, and let's enjoy our evening. This will be our coffee station right here with his light, where the gas stove is, and then the crates with the wood. That's unnecessary weight when we're driving tomorrow, so we're going to offload the crates with the wood and leave them by the fire. If it rains, it doesn't matter because the wood is in crates. That's the nice thing about having an ammo box slide where you can fit those crates and tie them down, is that you can put everything in crates and leave them as is. And yeah, we've got our 40 liters of water in the truck as well, so that'll just stay there, and we'll leave that tap hanging down if we need to use water for coffee or anything else that's there. For me, the fun of having a 4x4 is not just driving in it, it's being able to get to remote places like this and camp. This evening, it's just the trio of myself and my wife Nicole, and Nicole's sister Gabby. We will be joined tomorrow by my friend Jean in his Pajero and his girlfriend Megan, but tonight it's a dinner for 3, and thankfully Nicole doesn't shy away from a good fire. Right, so we woke up this morning at 6:30 to the sound of the baboons barking, and I think they're still right here, just on the cliff behind us. Oh, there they are, running down. Okay, let's try that again. We woke up to the sound of baboons barking this morning. Just started to get light at around 6:30. Very cold. It's the first signs of winter, and had a nice shower. There's actually a little shower facility up the top of the hill, and are busy making some breakfast now. My friend Jean is arriving probably around 8 o'clock, hopefully, and we're going to be heading out, him in his Pajero and us in the Hilux, and tackling a track that I actually had to abort on last time and turn around. It's called Sukkelpoort, which means basically, trying to do the direct translation, struggling, and then I don't know if there's an English word for poort, but basically it's like a valley a road that runs along a river. So the word struggle there should tell you everything you need to know. On paper it's kind of graded a 3, which does not translate to real life, because when the grading was done the road was in good condition, but unfortunately the farmer who looks after the track has Parkinson's disease, and he's been unable to maintain it. So as rains come and stuff, the road's just been rutted and washed away, and we actually don't know how bad it is. Like, it could be that it's so bad we have to spend a few hours moving rocks or filling in holes, or we have no idea. We actually may have to turn around, we don't know. But anyway, last time I came here, I didn't have the new suspension on here, I didn't have the new tires, and I did not have the bull bar on the front, so my approach angle was also not as good as it should be, and it actually got to a point where I had to turn around. I realized if I go any further I'm going to severely damage this vehicle, and it was getting late, we didn't have time to go through it slowly, so we turned around. I am back with the goal of actually saying I've done this track. It looks really rough, let's take it slow and let's try not to break anything, but it should be a lot of fun. We drove out of the camp to meet Jean and Megan at an intersection, and decided that there was no need to rush with the Sukkelpoort trail. The weather was great, the surroundings were breathtaking, so let's just take a slow drive up to the top of the hill to a lookout spot and catch up over a cup of coffee. The Kouga River is the main river in the area and is fed by the Kouga Mountains to the north. It's a popular river for bass fishing, but it's extremely low at the moment. Nonetheless, the views in the valley are insane, and we found a perch on the edge of the cliff to park off and chat. We hadn't seen each other in a while, so it was the perfect opportunity to catch up a bit before we climbed back in our own vehicles. The Sukkelpoort trail that we plan to tackle starts at the bottom of a valley and works its way up, pretty much following a riverbed all the way up to the top of a mountain where it joins back up with the main road. My guess is that this road was made long ago as a way for a farmer to reach goats that may have ended up in the gorge, but whatever the story, a 4x4 club discovered the road about 15 years ago and saw its potential. At first we are a bit confused because we see a sign that seems to point to nothing, and then we realize, oh, that pile of rocks is actually the road. Wow, okay, doesn't look too promising, but let's give it a bash, shall we? There literally isn't any sign of a road as we begin the trail, but we see faint tracks from somebody who did the trail recently, so we feel pretty confident that this is drivable. There's no turning back now. Well, to be honest, you can hardly see the road here. The road pretty much doesn't exist. There is no road, and it looks really rough. But the thing is, once you go in here, there is no turning back. We're basically along a riverbed. There's bush on both sides, rocks everywhere. If you can't reverse your way out, you can't go back. The one thing that's giving us a little bit of comfort is knowing that there's someone in front of us who's doing the trail today. I mean, it's probably the first person to do this trail in many weeks, because you can see there's no tire tracks. Looks like no one's been around here, but we're on our way, and if it's doable by someone in front of us, then it's doable for us. We just need to take it slow, make sure we put our wheels in the right spot, there's a good chance I'm going to damage something on my vehicle, but hey, it's worth it. So and that's what I got it for. So to do stuff like this, see what happens. John's Pajero doesn't look too modified at a quick glance, but he does have rock sliders and a bash plate and proper all-terrain tires, so he has everything he needs. You'll see throughout this video that the short wheelbase handles the tight corners and obstacles very, very well. I of course also now have great tires and good clearance, so as long as I look after the sides and the rear, I know I'll be fine. I must say, mounting the action camera to the bottom like this gives us some really great angles. I am really enjoying this footage. Much of the trail follows the riverbed, but we found that the first kilometer or so was relatively easy as it didn't follow the riverbed. It crossed it many times, which created some pretty steep approach and departure angles, but I never felt that it was super technical. There were a couple spots there where we climbed out of the riverbed at fairly steep angles, and the loose rocks gave us a fun challenge to face. Okay, we are going to just walk this next section because it's starting to get quite rough. Let me show you what I mean. It's pretty steep. I don't think traction will be too much of a problem, but you definitely don't want to be slipping about here and it looks rough, eh? That should be fun.
First proper challenge.
Yeah. I went first and I was pretty impressed with how my heavily packed vehicle with probably 400 kilograms of extra weight just crawled up without too much of a hassle. Having tires down to about 1.5 bar probably helped a bit. And John, come a bit, go back and then come a bit this way. Go back a little bit, go back like a meter. Once up on the contour road above the riverbed, there was a smooth section before a very steep drop down into the riverbed again. And you'll see as soon as we get down, this was probably, in my opinion, the trickiest section because there was a lot of potential for bodywork damage. I've got the DJI action cam on the back of the Pajero here. This camera has a great image stabilizer, which doesn't help in showing how bumpy the road is, but it does give a nice clear view of my Hilux coming down. Once down in the riverbed, we had to follow the gorge for a couple hundred meters, and what made this a challenge was the fact that there was basically no room on either side. I can deal with punctures and stuff like that, but I definitely did not want to be smashing up my bodywork on rocks. I don't know if rock crawling is the correct term because we weren't needing to get over many massive rocks, but we were needing to avoid big rocks all around us, and this is where Jean had the advantage. The Pajero was way more maneuverable around these rocks, whereas my Hilux stood a much better chance of getting smashed up if I didn't pick a line carefully.
Sorry. No, it's fine.
Okay, well we've probably been on the road now for, I actually don't know what time it is, but probably like 45 minutes. And we actually have no idea how long we've got to go. I'll have to check on the GPS back in the vehicle, but as you can see it's starting to get quite rough here. There's some sections here where we really starting to climb over some big boulders, and I know from having done like a little bit of the section at the top before that it's just going to get worse. So should be interesting. I've already destroyed my side steps, which I was kind of expecting. They're not meant to protect the vehicle much, and I've already damaged my rear bumper, which those are the two things that I was planning to replace anyway. So it's not the end of the world, but yeah, it's difficult but fun. So that's what we came here for, and should be fun the rest of the way. Hopefully we can send the drone up soon and show you what the track looks like, but very, very cool.
We were now about halfway through the track. I do believe in hindsight that the worst was definitely behind us, as from here we climbed back out of the riverbed and out of the tight spots. The rocks around us got replaced by bush, and while scratches on my paint is not ideal, it comes with the territory and is still far better in my books than a dent from a rock. I mentioned that my tyres were down to about 1.5 bar. In hindsight, I probably could have had them a little harder, for the sole reason that my rims are pretty big at 18 inches, and I did not want a rock to hit my rim and give me a snake bite. In some of these clips you can see some pretty close calls. I filmed this next section from a few different angles because this is actually the part where I turned around last time, as the risk of a puncture or underbody damage was just too high. With proper tyres and good clearance though, we make it up here pretty easily this time, with Jean going up first and myself second.
Yeah!
Damn, son. Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm just gonna... So, this is the spot where I turned around last time. And looking back at it now after what we've done, it doesn't look so bad. But obviously, the day we did it previously, we had no idea what lay down here. We came from the opposite direction, no idea what was on that side. And my vehicle was close to stock sanded, no lift at all, road tires basically. So it probably was a smart thing to turn around last time, but should be a walk in the park more or less with these vehicles. So let's do it. That was too easy.
It was
Hey?
too easy. I think there is another one though. That can't be.
No, that was it. That was the
No,
one.
no, no, there must be.
No,
There's
that was
one
the
more.
one.
Ah, take you.
I'm
but there's
telling
one
you.
more. No.
I'm telling
There
you,
is one more. Sorry, my door's open.
little bit of clearance makes a big difference. So people
No,
who ask,
man.
people
There
who
is
ask,
one more.
why would you spend on upgrades? I can tell you now, my stock standard Hilux would not have made that.
No, it wouldn't.
The
have.
whole trail.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I would-
But what I'm saying is, not a lot of people do these things. So yes, if you're wanting to take
True.
it 4x4ing, and you want the surety for like overlanding, then yes, I would do it.
Yes.
That wasn't it.
I've learned a few things. I've learned that having a short wheelbase vehicle like that two-door Pajero,
That's very cool.
the long wheelbase like this, not the best for this kind of driving,
Yeah.
but I can carry so much weight in here. I
Yeah, it's
could,
worth it.
if I was camping at the top, I'd be in a much better position
Yeah.
than Jean. So from a pure four-wheel drive point of view, so Jean's vehicle is probably better than this,
Yeah.
or at least his form factor.
But
But I
can
think
you
in
imagine?
terms of camping and overlanding, I can take so much stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking with my car I'm gonna have to come up like this.
Okay.
But you have plates underneath your whole car, so I don't see this being an issue. I don't have plates all the way under.
Yeah, I just don't want to smash my
Yeah.
discs or something. But
Well, if you can,
If I can
get
just
your
bring my front
front
wheel up
around,
here and then
you'll
it should
get
be fine.
your back will be fine.
I just don't want to hit that drop. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
But should be okay.
Before we knew it, the 3.8 kilometer Sukkelpoort trail was over. It took us a good few hours to get through, but it ended up being very manageable, and with that ticked off the list, we could relax for the rest of the afternoon. We headed out to a lookout point on the edge of a cliff where people sometimes abseil, which gave us a nice panoramic view of the farm below, before heading back down the switchbacks, back past the start of the Sukkelpoort trail, and onto camp. With only a couple hours of light left, we decided to make some coffee and relax for a bit, but we soon had the fire going and I started looking forward to dinner.
Always boil water afterwards and add it to the coffee.
Yeah. Yes.
I had a nice rack of lamb ribs from Witmorskloof that I wanted to cook slowly next to an open flame, so I made a rub with some herbs, salt and olive oil, and John got started on some garlic bread. I don't know if it's just me, but food always seems to taste better when you're hungry, and we were hungry. We ended up making a separate fire for my ribs so I could keep the flame going while the other fire turned to coals for the braai, and then it was just a case of waiting. I really do hope you enjoyed this episode. It was something different to what I normally do, but I'm definitely keen to do more, so let me know in the comments below what you think. Once again, thanks for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you on the next one.